What do you mean by income deemed to accrue or arise? Deemed to accrue or arise. Irrespective of an income's actual price of accrual. We always say the following incomes are always deemed to be accrued or arise in India. What is this deemed to be accrued or arise? We presume that it is from India. We don't want to hear anything else. We are assuming that the following situations, these incomes are accrued in India, irrespective of its actual place of accrual. It's a deeming fiction. Deeming fiction means a notional thing, irrespective of its actual place of receipt. We say that these kinds of incomes are always from India. So let's understand what exactly is this deeming fiction. Under that, the first point they say is income accruing or arising outside India, directly or indirectly through or from any business connection in India. Listen, what they are saying is, if an income is accruing or arising outside India, that means your actual accrual is outside India, but that outside India accrual is due to your business connection in India, then we will say that income is deemed to be accrued or arised in India. Alright, what do you mean by this business connection? The funny factor is the word business connection is not exhaustively explained in Income Tax Act. There is no exhaustive definition for the word business connection, but they say agents can be considered as business connection. There are certain inclusive items. They haven't exhaustively explained the definition of business connection in income tax. Hope you remember the exhaustive definition. Exhaustive means complete definition. So let's understand by way of an example what exactly is business connection. Listen, I'll make use of an example to explain the concept of business connection. Listen, say for example, Apple company USA, they are actually famous for iPhones. Alright, say Mr. Agent is a person in India. What he does is, assume that Apple does not have a branch or a sales outlet or an official authorized store, etc. in India. They does not have any official authorized store or branch, etc. in India. Actually, they do have. Are you all listening? So, Apple actually have a branch in India, but for the purpose of this example, assume they don't have any place of business in India. So, what Apple does is, Apple has appointed an agent. They have appointed Mr. Agent. And what Mr. Agent does is, Mr. Agent will go and meet customers in India. Mr. Agent will go and meet different customers in India with the iPhone model. He will show that iPhone to the different customers in India. And if the customers are interested, they can directly buy it from the Apple USA. They will give a direct request to the Apple USA, and Apple USA will send the phone to the customers, and Apple USA will collect the money as well. They will send phone directly from USA and they will collect money directly to USA also. Alright, so Apple USA is saying that we are not doing any direct sales. Your customer is coming to US. Are you all with me? What Apple iPhone says, Apple company says is, we are not directly selling anything to India. Your customer comes to US, maybe by way of a phone or an internet order, whatever it is, or they directly come to US for buying this iPhones. We are not giving it, or we are not giving these products to India. Your Indians are coming to us. So the sales happened in US. Money also collected in US. So they will say that income is not accrued in India or not first received in India for Apple. But Indian government will say, you have sent an agent. That agent is a business connection. This agent will be considered as a business connection. Due to this business connection only, Apple was able to get these customers. Due to that business connection in India only, Apple was able to get these customers because that agent only introduced the iPhone to the customers in India. Or we can say that agent induced customers from India. Yes or no? So there is a business connection for you in India, and hence we say that all the profit that you have generated through this agent shall be income deemed to be accrued in India. We know that sales happened in US. We know that you have collected the money in US. Doesn't matter because you have a business connection in India. Only due to that business connection you are able to make profit from India, and hence we will say all those profits shall be deemed to be accrued or arised in India. Say for example, say this Apple USA have a global profit of they have a global profit of say 1000 crores, say 100 crores. They have a global profit of 100 crores. And from this agent, by making use of agent, they are able to make a profit of 10 crores. By making use of this agent, they are able to make a profit of 10 crores. How much will be income deemed to be accrued or arise in India? 100 crores or 10 crores? 100 crores or 10 crores? Common sense. Only 10 crores. Why? That 10 crores is only on account of business connection in India. That 100 crores is your global profit from your global activities. India cannot say that you have to come here and pay the taxes for your global activities. What India can say, you have a business connection, you made some profit on account of that business connection. Only that profit will be what deemed to be accrued or arised in India. So what we can say is, only profit attributable to business connection in India shall be taxable in India, shall be deemed to be accrued or arise in India, shall be deemed to be accrue in India. India cannot make their global profits deemed to be accrued or arise in India. What India says is, only those profits which are attributable to business connection. What do you mean by attributable to business connection? Only those profits you have generated through that business connection. India can tax those profits. India cannot tax your global profits. Are you all listening? So the point is pretty simple. If you have a business connection, due to that business connection in India, you have accrued some income outside India, then that income shall be deemed to be accrued or arised in India. The word business connection, again I am saying it is not explained in income tax, but there is an inclusive definition. For the examination purpose, we should study only that inclusive definition. We should know what exactly is the inclusive definition. Till now, is that clear? Yes or no? Now friends, listen, there is one more point in this. Say for example, in the same example, let me make some corrections, some additions. Say, just like iPhone, there is Samsung, then Oppo, Vivo, then OnePlus, Nothing, etc. So this Mr. Agent sell all the other phones as well. Mr. Agent has a collection of other phones as well. He shows all the phones to the customer. Customer, whatever he wants, he can directly buy it from the respective company. Are you all listening? If the case is like this, then we cannot say that Mr. Agent is a business connection of any of these companies. Why? Because if Mr. Agent is independently acting as an in his normal course of his business, then we cannot say that he is a business connection of any of these particular companies. If Mr. Agent is under a particular company, under the control of a particular company and selling products of that particular company only or a particular group only, then we can say that he is a business connection. Otherwise, he is not a business connection. Say for example, I am Mr. Agent. I am buying all the phones. I am buying all the phones of all the companies. Then I am reselling those phones in India. Can India say that all those companies have business connection in India? No. If that Apple company appoints me as an agent and they are making me to sell only Apple phones, then it's altogether a different story. Then I am under the control of Apple. Apple, instead of directly coming to India, they are appointed an agent and making profit through India. Yes or no? In that case, there will be a business connection on account of agency. Are you all with me? If that agent is acting in his normal course of business and also selling other phones or other products not induced by a particular company only, then we cannot say that he is a business connection of any of these companies. Are you all listening? Yes or no? One more scenario I can give. Listen. Say, agent is selling Apple phones and Samsung phones. Agent is selling both Apple phones and Samsung phones. This Apple company is controlling Samsung, or Samsung is controlled by Apple, or both are controlled by a common company, say Tata. Either Apple controls Samsung, either one, or Samsung controls Apple, or both of these companies are controlled by Tata. Then we can say this agent is a sole agent of the group. If Apple company controls Samsung and the agent sells both the Apple phones and Samsung phones, then we can say he is under Apple, because Apple is controlled by, Samsung is controlled by Apple, and this agent is selling both Apple phones and Samsung phones under one roof. He is selling. Or in reverse also, Samsung controls Apple and he is selling both Apple phones and Samsung phones. He is under the group. Or we can say both Apple and Samsung is controlled by Tata and he is only doing work for Tata group. Then also we can say he is under the control of a particular group. Then also he is a business connection. Are you with me? So these are the main points that I have to discuss in business connection. Now let's write some notes in relation to business connection. So I want all of you to leave one full page for this particular flowchart. I'll give you time to copy this flowchart. I want all of you to leave one full page for this flowchart. One full page for this flowchart. In the next page, as a subheading, you have to write business connection. Under that, write, it shall include a person acting on behalf of non-resident, in brackets you can write agent, must have an authority. This must have an authority is subpoint, okay. This must have an authority should be subpoint. Must have an authority to conclude contracts or plays an important role in concluding contract. In concluding contract for non-resident. Subpoint number 2, you can write or, then subpoint number 2, maintains stock in India, from which he regularly delivers goods for non-residents. Or subpoint number 3, habitually secures orders in India for non-residents. Habitually secures orders in India for non-resident. An agent will be considered as a business connection in any of these alternate scenarios. There are 3 alternate scenarios for considering an agent as a business connection. Friends, which all are the alternate scenarios? Number 1, an agent should have either an authority to conclude a contract or plays an important role in concluding the contract. Say agent on behalf of non-resident, instead of non-resident directly coming into India, agent does something which actually helps to generate income for the non-resident. Or he maintains stock in India, from that stock he regularly does the supply. Say for example, that agent in India is maintaining some stock for the iPhone. When Apple company says to deliver, he will deliver. That is also regarded as a business connection. Or he habitually secures orders in India for non-resident. That is what the example I have told you. He goes, meets customers and secures the orders on non-resident on behalf of the non-resident. In all these scenarios, he will be considered as a business connection. Under that we can write a note. Only so much of income attributable to business connection shall be deemed to be accrue or arise in India. Only so much of income attributable to business connection shall be deemed to be accrue or arise in India. What do you mean by only so much of income attributable to business connection shall be deemed to be accrue or arise in India? They have global profits. India cannot make those all global profits taxable in India. What we can say, those profits which are attributable to business connection alone shall be deemed to be accrued or arise in India. I hope you remember. I've told you this in an example itself. Yes or no? Moving on. Now, moving on to the next note, note number 2. What they say is agents having independent status are not included in business connection. Agents having independent status are not included in business connection. Hope you remember. A particular agent who sells all the other brand phones as well will never be considered as a business connection. So these are the main notes that you have to consider while studying business connection concept. So friends, what is the relevance of business connection? What is the relevance? Number 1, they say if you have an income which is accrued outside India, then for a non-resident it is not taxable in India. Why? Accrued outside India, first received outside India, for a non-resident it is not taxable in India. Yes or no? But that income accrual outside India is due to a business connection in India. Then that will be considered as an income deemed to be accrued or arised in India. What is business connection? That's what we have written here. Yes or no? Now moving on, there is another problem. I've told you an agent is a business connection. That means a person have to be in India. But nowadays, due to the advancement of technology, do we really require a person to be physically present in India for making sales? Yes or no? No. Why? You can give some online advertisement and you can give some online website, or through Amazon or Flipkart or through your own website, you can sell your products even without any physical presence of your agent. Yes or no? Give 2 or 3 advertisements in YouTube. If customers want the phone, they will log on to your website and they will definitely buy the product. You don't require a person to be physically present in India for generating income in India. Yes or no? Due to this, they have introduced another concept called as significant economic presence. The physical presence of an agent is actually not required to prove business connection. Right now they say significant economic presence is also considered as what? Business connection. What do you mean by significant economic presence? You are not present physically, but you are making revenue. And that, if it is after certain threshold, or if it is over and above certain threshold, we will call it as significant economic presence. And thereby it will be also considered as what? Business connection. All the profits accrued on account of that significant economic presence shall be deemed to be accrued or arise in India. Now let's understand what is significant economic presence. Under that, right, significant economic presence shall also constitute business connection. So significant economic presence shall also constitute business connection. What do you mean by shall also constitute business connection? Significant economic presence is also considered as business connection. That's it. Are you all with me? Significant economic presence shall also considered as business connection. That means business connection includes both the physical presence of an agent as well as significant economic presence. Now, what is the significant economic presence? Let's understand what exactly is significant economic presence. It means there are 2 scenarios for significant economic presence. So let's understand. In respect of goods or services provided by a non-resident in India, when aggregate transaction exceeds 2 crores. So listen friends, what department says is, in respect of goods or services provided by a non-resident in India, when the aggregate transaction exceeds 2 crore, it will be considered as a significant economic presence. What do you mean by that? Say I am a non-resident. I have a product. I am not sending anyone to India. I am not sending anyone to India. I don't have any agent in India. But Indians can log on to my website and buy my products. Indians can log on to my website and buy my products. Every year, more than 2 crore value of transactions I have in India. Say every year, the total value of transactions done by Indians in my website is more than 2 crore. Then department will say, normally I say my website server is in US. I am a person from US. I cannot do anything because Indians are logging on to my website. Alright, whether that income accrued in India, department say, if the value of transaction is more than 2 crore, then it will be considered as a significant economic presence in India. If there is a significant economic presence in India, then what they will say, it is also regarded as a business connection in India, and hence all those profits which are attributable to that significant economic presence shall be taxable in India, shall be deemed to be accrued or arise in India. Are you all listening? So what they are saying is, even if I have a significant economic presence, that means if my value of transaction is more than 2 crore with Indians in a year, then that also will be considered as a business connection in India. I hope it is clear. Is that clear, friends? Now, point number 2, systematic and continuous soliciting of business. Soliciting of business and engaging with users in India. Users in India, engaging with users in India, if number of users is 3 lakhs or more, then that is also regarded as a significant economic presence. Friends, listen, here there is an unfamiliar word. What do you mean by systematic and continuous soliciting of business? What do you mean by soliciting of business? Say you are providing online YouTube ads. Soliciting means advertising, influencing customers. Are you all with me? Are you all with me? Soliciting of business simply means you are providing advertisement. You are interacting with customers in India. And you are interacting with, every year you are interacting with 3 lakh or more customers by way of online advertisement or any other mode. Alright, if that case, you will be considered as, you will be having a significant economic presence in India. That means, irrespective of your value of transaction, if you are interacting with 3 lakh or more customers in India by way of continuous and systematic advertisement, then also you will be considered as a significant economic presence. If it is considered as a significant economic presence, then department say it is a business connection. If it is a business connection, then all the profits which you have earned through these activities shall be deemed to be accrued or arise in India. Number 1, 2 significant economic presence scenarios are there. Number 1, value of transactions more than 2 crore. Number 2, you are interacting continuous and soliciting, you are continuously soliciting with 3 lakh or more users in India. That is also regarded as a significant economic presence, and that also will have an impact on business connection, and you are supposed to show that income as an Indian income if it is attributable to that particular business connection. Is that clear? Now, there is one more point here in relation to this business connection. Let's understand what exactly is that point. So, listen. Alright friends, so the next point is, as I've told you, once this business connection is established, maybe by way of an agent or through significant economic presence, then what is the next thing to consider? Then I've told you that only those incomes which are attributable to business connection alone shall be taxable in India. Yes or no? Only those incomes which are attributable to business connection shall be taxable in India. So, I'll draw another flowchart for a better clarity of this point. Listen, say you are a non-resident. You are a non-resident and you have a business connection in India. Then, as I've told you, only those incomes, only those profits or incomes that are attributable to business connection in India alone shall be taxable in India. Yes or no? Now they say, what exactly is this income attributable to business connection in India? What do you mean by this income attributable to business connection? Those incomes which are generated due to or through the influence of business connection shall be deemed to be accrued or arise in India. Yes or no? Now department say this includes income attributable to business connection in India includes 3 items. Includes 3 items. You need to write this. Let's understand which all are the 3 items. Item number 1, they say income from advertisement income from advertisement, targeting customers residing in India, or using IP address in India, or using IP address in India. Array, what do you mean by this, friends? It seems like a very long point. What do you mean by this point? Listen. Say for example, in our example, that non-resident was Apple company. Yes or no? The non-resident was Apple company. Say Apple company have a website. Through this website, Indian customers are actually buying Apple phones, then iPods, then Apple laptops, every other products of Apple they are buying through the website. Listen. So, when Indian customers are accessing the website and buying products through this Apple website, if the value of transaction exceeds 2 crore, then it will be considered as a significant economic presence. Yes or no? If it is a significant economic presence, as you know, then all those profit attributable to the significant economic presence shall be deemed to be accrued or arise in India. While attributing those incomes, you need to include income generated by Apple through advertisement targeting customers residing in India or using IP address located in India. What do you mean by advertisement income generated by Apple? Say for example, in the Apple website, there is a banner advertisement. What do you mean by banner advertisement? See, when you open Flipkart, Amazon, eBay sites and all, you can see banner advertisement. Nike, Puma, 50% off, 80% off, Oppo, new phone launch, Vivo, new phone is coming, Google Pixel 7a, new phone is launching on 50th, pre-book, etc., etc. These are banner advertisements. These are actually not given for free. Definitely they will collect an income from these brands. These websites will collect an income from these brands. Say Apple company has given a banner advertisement of Samsung. They will never give, first of all. Since it is an example, I can tell you anything. Alright, they will never promote their competitor in their own website. Yes or no? They will never. But only for the sake of example. Say Apple, in the Apple website, there is a banner advertisement of Samsung. For this, Samsung have to pay money to Apple. Yes or no? For this, Samsung have to pay money to Apple. Say 10 crore they have to give every year. 10 crore they have to give every year. So, if this advertisement target customers are Indians, what do you mean by target customers? Based on your location, based on your IP address, they can set the target customers. Say for example, I can give an online advertisement where all the persons from Chennai or Tamil Nadu can access that particular advertisement. I can put preferences for the target customers based on location, based on IP address, etc. Are you all listening? If the target customers are either residing in India or using IP address located in India, all those income through advertisement generated by Apple also shall be income attributable to business connection. That means this 10 crore is not on account of sales of iPhones. This 10 crore in the example is on account of what? Is on account of advertisement sales to Samsung. Yes or no? So that 10 crore also will form part of the income attributable to business connection. That's what the first point. Income from advertisement targeting customers residing in India or using IP address located in India also shall form part of income attributable to business connection. What do you mean by IP address? What is IP address? Internet protocol address. A person who is accessing internet in India using a system in India have a unique address. System address as well as the net address. Unique combination address. That is said to be IP address. Internet protocol address. Is that clear? Have you written this? You need to write this first point. Alright. So I hope you have completed the writings. Now moving on to the second point. In the income attribution, there is second point. What they say as the second point is, listen. So let's understand what exactly is the second point. So they say income from, it includes income from sale of data collected from persons residing in India or IP address located in India. Arey, what do you mean by this point? Say, listen, hope you have all purchased products, commodities from an online site like Flipkart, Amazon, eBay, etc., Meesho, etc., right? So what all are the documents or details that you have to give when you purchase an item from these online websites? Name, mobile number, email address, and address you have to give. Yes or no? They want your name, mobile number, email ID. This is called as data. They will sell this data to outside customers. Are you all with me? Say this Apple company is collecting your name, mobile number, phone number, and email ID. This is data. And they are selling this data. To different other companies. Alright. They are selling this data. To other companies. And they are making a revenue. They are making 5 crores from this data. That is also an income attributable to business connection in India if the data relates to a person residing in India or IP address located in India. Apple company, their direct profit is profit from iPhones. Yes or no? The second item is when they sell iPhones, they will get the data of customers. They are making use of that Indian customer data and they are selling this data to a third party company for a money. That money is also an income attributable to business connection. That also will be considered as an income deemed to be accrued or arised in India because you are selling data of Indians and you are getting money. That is also income attributable to business connection. Are you all listening? Moving on to the third point. Income from sale of goods or services using data collected in relation to persons residing in India or using IP address located in India. So the third point what they say is, say in the example which we have discussed in the second one, the data sold by iPhone company. Say JK Limited is buying the data. Are you all listening? Say JK Limited is another non-resident company. They bought all the data from Apple company. The data is in relation to Indian customers. Are you all listening? The data is in relation to Indian customers. JK Limited is buying all this data and JK Limited tried to sell products by making use of this data. JK Limited is trying to sell his products by making use of that data collected from Apple. That means I have the mobile number of different customers. I am sending direct purchase messages to the customers and those interested customers will definitely buy my product. Those sales also shall be income attributable to business connection of JK Limited because JK Limited have made use of data collected from Indian customers. So indirectly he have a nexus in India. Yes or no? He collected data of Indian residents from Apple and now JK Limited is making use of that data to make sales. That income also shall be income attributable to business connection in India and JK Limited for that profit needs to pay taxes in India by way of section 9 deeming fiction. So three things they are saying. While determining income attributable to business connection, three things you have to consider. Which all are the three things, friends? Number one, sales from advertisements. Number two, sales from data. Number three, sales by making use of data. All these three things shall be always considered as income attributable to business connection in India. I hope it is crystal clear. Yes or no? Now, so these are the business connection scenarios. And one more thing is there in business connection. We can write that also. So department say, the following shall not be regarded as business connection. What do you mean by the following shall not be regarded as business connection? Means it is just like a negative list. It is just like a negative list. What is negative list? What is negative list? In the following scenarios, they will never be considered as it as a business connection. The following are never considered as business connection. Number one. So let's understand which all are not business connection. That means purchase of goods in India for the purpose of export. Say you are purchasing goods in India for the purpose of exporting it outside India. Then it will be never considered as a business connection for you. What do you mean by this? Say for example, I am a non-resident manufacturer. I am collecting my raw material from India and have sent someone to purchase raw material and I am exporting it to outside India. Will that be considered as a business connection? No. Department says that don't bother, don't trouble those things. It will affect our exports. So purchasing products from India for the purpose of export will be never considered as a business connection in India in whatsoever manner. Point number 2, collection of news and views, collection of news and views in India for broadcasting outside India. For broadcasting outside India. What do you mean by collection of news and views for broadcasting outside India? I'll give you another example. Say BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation. They have correspondents and journalists in India. What they will do, they will cover all the important events happening in India and they will send the news to the overseas BBC and they will broadcast it throughout the globe. Yes or no? So this BBC journalists are actually collecting news from India for the purpose of broadcasting it globally. That will never be considered as a business connection. That is outside the ambit of business connection. Department will never trouble BBC by saying it as a business connection. It is also as a part of negative list. Point number 3. Shooting of cinema in India if such non-resident being an individual, should be not a citizen of India. So what do you mean by this? Shooting of cinema in India. Say for example, Mission Impossible series, I think Raw Nation, that movie's certain portions are shotted in India. Anil Kapoor, our Bollywood actor, acted in that particular movie, Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise movie. So a part is actually shotted in India. That doesn't mean that movie team have a business connection in India. Alright, what they are saying is, if a part of a movie or the entire movie is shot in India and the movie's producer being a non-resident who is a non-citizen of India, then department will never say that that movie have a business connection in India. Are you with me? Shooting of cinematographic films is never considered as a business connection if it is actually shotted by a non-citizen, non-resident. Number 2, if such non-resident being partnership firm, all partners should not be citizens or residents in India. What do you mean by that? If the movie production team is a partnership firm, then all of the partners should be non-citizens as well as non-residents in India. Then department will never say that that movie team have a business connection in India. Let me ask you one question. If that movie production team is a partnership firm and one of the partner is a resident in India, that means they have business connection in India. Yes or no? If the movie production team is a partnership firm, one of their partners is a resident in India or a citizen in India, then they will not form part of this negative list. Yes or no? They will never come as a part of this negative list. That doesn't mean they have business connection. That only means one thing, they will never get the benefit of what? Negative list. That's it. Negative list, if you are not in negative list, that means you are not in negative list. that doesn't mean you have business connection. Business connection is always established on the basis of actual facts. What is actual facts? Whether you have any agent here, whether you are doing any kind of indirect sales here, depends upon that only department will establish business connection. If you are not in the negative list, that means you are not in the negative list. That doesn't mean you have business connection. You will have business connection depends upon the actual circumstances and actual facts done by you. Hope you got the concept. If you are not in business connection, that doesn't mean, if you are not in negative list, that doesn't mean you have business connection. That only means you will not get the benefit of this negative list. Are you all listening? Now, third one. Such non-resident being a company, then all shareholders should be or should not be citizens or residents in India. If the production term is a company, then none of the shareholders should be what? Residents or citizens in India. All of the shareholders should be non-citizens as well as non-residents in India. That's what they say as the third point. So we have studied three negative lists. Which all are the three negative lists? Number one, purchase of goods for the purpose of export. Number two, you are collecting news from India for the purpose of broadcasting outside India. Number three, shooting of cinema in India, provided that producer being a non-resident should be non-citizen. Provided that producer being a non-resident partnership firm, all the partners should be non-citizen as well as non-resident. Provided that non-resident company, all shareholders should be non-citizens as well as non-residents. Now, there is one more negative list, fourth one. What they are saying? Being a foreign company engaged in mining of diamonds, if undertakes activity of displaying uncut diamond in special notified zone by CG. And the fourth one is actually interesting. Listen, this fourth negative list is only applicable for whom? Foreign company. Say you are a foreign company engaged in the business of mining of diamonds. You are doing some mining activities in India. Government has given you a special request. You got a rare diamond. You got a rare uncut diamonds. Government told you to put it on display in a specially notified zone. You have done it. That will be never considered as a business connection in India. Say you are a foreign company engaged in the business of diamonds. The central government told you to put your uncut diamonds that you got as a part of your mining for a display in India in a specially notified zone. That activity of displaying that uncut diamond in a specially notified zone in India will be never considered as what? Business connection. Are you with me? You can enjoy the benefit of negative list. That's what I can say. So these are the all four negative list of what? Business connection. So by this I can say the concept of business connection is actually over. So what was business connection, friends? If you are a non-resident and you are having an income accrued outside India, but it is directly or indirectly through or from any business connection in India, then that income which is actually accrued outside India shall be deemed to be accrued or arised in India, which is under section 9 of income tax law.